In the retail sector, we're seeing a significant move or migration where meat is now packed in cardboard trays such as this, where previously it would have been packed in plastic trays such as this. I'd just like to take a little bit of time today to discuss the merits of both packaging formats and look at the environmental benefits of one versus the other. So if we initially consider plastic trays, so plastic trays I've drawn here in green. These are predominantly made from a material called PET, polyethylene terephthalate. It's a very common material used predominantly in the manufacture of drinks bottles, water bottles, etc. And when meat is packed inside a tray like this, it is the tray itself that provides the barrier to maintain the shelf life of the meat. The meat shown here in red is then vacuum sealed with a film shown in blue, and the film shown in blue then also provides a barrier to oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc., which would cause the meat to foul. This tray, or this plastic tray that we're finding a lot of migration away from, if we consider the recycled content of this tray, it is a recycled content of up to 100%. So that's quite surprising. But that tray can be made from 100% recycled PET material known as rPET. The recyclability of that tray, it's extremely easy to recycle. It's recycled in exactly the same way as bottles are today. The other major benefit is that the material itself has got a really high demand. Everybody wants rPET because it's really good at being recycled and reused. So rPET, easy to recycle, huge demand for the material. The consumer, when they purchase this tray and use this tray, they have to do two things. First of all, the plastic film shown in blue needs to be peeled off the tray to expose the meat. And when they do that, they put the film into the bin. So that is into this standard waste bin. The tray then just needs to be rinsed, and then it's placed into the recycle bin for recycling. Once that plastic tray has been rinsed and placed into the recycling bin at home, it then goes off to a sorting centre where it's sorted along with all other trays, pots, tubs and bottles. It is brought to a wash plant where the material is washed and made very clean. It's then chopped up into flakes, and from there it is returned back to other packaging companies to produce more trays, more pots, more tubs or more bottles. So that's the plastic tray. If we then compare that to the cardboard trays, which have become quite common in the marketplace, these are a more complex tray. So shown in red is the cardboard tray itself. Now, cardboard has got a very poor oxygen barrier, very poor water vapor barrier and very poor carbon dioxide barrier. So you can't use a cardboard tray on its own to pack meat. You must apply a film to the tray that has got a barrier in it. And this is shown in black. So a cardboard tray, before you pack any meat in it, is already made of two materials, cardboard with a barrier film laminated to it. The meat shown in red is then packed in it, and then the same blue film as is used in the plastic example is used to vacuum pack the meat and have the product ready to go to the retailer. So I've classed the two films here as plastic film 1 and plastic film 2 because that's quite important. So the recycled content of the cardboard tray, that's really interesting. So the recycled content of the cardboard tray is 0%. Cardboard trays, which are printed with high quality graphics, are generally made from 100% virgin pulp, which means that it is came directly from trees. There's no recycled content. In terms of recyclability, the product is actually really difficult to recycle. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. But one of the main reasons why it's so difficult to recycle is that there's actually no demand. No demand for the material. Unlike rPET that I've previously mentioned, that there's a high demand for, there is very, very little demand for cardboard or paper. Currently, recycling plants are having to pay to have the material moved on, and generally most of that is going to incineration currently. To actually recycle this product, firstly, plastic film number 1 on the top is removed to expose the meat for the consumer to use, and the consumer is asked to put that in the bin because it's not recyclable. Plastic film 2, which is the barrier film for the cardboard tray, the consumer is also asked to separate that from the tray and asked to put that into the bin also. That means that both of those plastic elements of the cardboard tray are going into a bin, which will end up in landfill or incinerating for energy recovery. The cardboard tray, or the bare cardboard tray, is then recyclable. So that is okay to put into your recycling bin, where it is hopefully going to be recycled along with your mixed paper and card. Let me talk a little bit about some buzzwords. So circular economy, this is what all packaging really needs to be, and this is what as a packaging producer and a packaging user, everybody is trying to accomplish. So in a circular economy, you've got a closed loop system. So that means, for example, that for a plastic tray, you manufacture your plastic tray, then that goes to the consumer, where you use the tray. You then put the tray into your recycling bin, and then the product is recycled into a material, rPET, where it is then used to remanufacture a tray. And because it goes into the mixed rPET stream, it may manufacture a tray, a pot, or a tub, or even a bottle. But it won't be lost, and the next time it's used and placed in the recycling bin, once again, it would be consumed, recycled, and reused once again. So this is a really good example of a closed loop circular economy. The other type of economy that we hear discussed is a linear economy. And this is the worst type. So the unseparated cardboard tray, I haven't mentioned this previously, but it's actually quite difficult to separate the film here shown in black from the cardboard shown in red. So you're asking the consumer to physically separate these two pieces of material. They're covered in juices, they're covered in blood, you must rinse them really clean. Some people don't even like doing it. If you don't separate them, then you've got two mixed materials going into the recycling system. You've got cardboard and paper, or cardboard and plastic stuck together, and these cannot be recycled. In this example, we've got really a linear economy. So this is where you take a material and you make a product. You make the product and you use the product. Once you've used, you dispose. So even though you've placed this product in your recycling bin, it will not be recycled. It will, best case, maybe go on to energy recovery, and worst case, it will go to landfill. Then there is another type of recycling, which is downcycling. Downcycling is where the correctly separated cardboard tray will really end up. It doesn't fit the linear model because it doesn't have any recycled content. Do you remember this? Recycled content, 0%. So that means none of that material is going to go back into the same type of product again. What will happen is that it will be recycled into a lesser grade product. So it may be recycled into some other type of card product, but certainly not back into this type of packaging. To summarise, for plastic versus cardboard, recycled content, the plastic tray has up to 100% recycled content, whereas the cardboard tray has typically 0% recycled content. In terms of recyclability, a big yes for plastic. Incredibly recyclable, will be recycled along with all of the other trays, pots and tubs and bottles, with a huge demand for the recycled material or PET. Whereas the card is very difficult to recycle, needs consumer intervention before it's placed in the bin, and if recycled, has got very, very low demand for the material. In terms of circular economy, the plastic tray is completely circular. As long as the tray is placed in the bin at the end of its life, it will be recycled back into another tray, pot, tub or bottle. The cardboard tray, again, because it has no recycled content, it will not be returned back into another cardboard tray and will not fit the circular banner. And finally, in terms of carbon footprint, the plastic tray, being manufactured predominantly from recycled material, has got an incredibly low carbon footprint. And the card tray has a very, very high carbon footprint. So contrary to consumer perception, swapping from a plastic tray such as this to a cardboard tray such as this is actually worse for the environment.